The FBI working to unlock the Texas church gunman's phone while searching for answers to Sunday's massacre. Yesterday, the FBI made it clear that the issue is part of an ongoing larger problem for law enforcement when it comes to these types of investigations. Texas Congressman Mike McCaul is chairman of the House Committee on Homeland Security and joins me now. Chairman, thank you for being here this morning. This is hard for us to understand. Here, this phone, we have the phone. They have it of the suspect, and they can't get into it. Obviously, that could reveal so much about this person. Why can't we get into the phone?
Same problem we had in the San Bernardino case, the terrorist. We had the phone, and the FBI wanted the evidence, but we were not able to open that phone. And Apple claimed that they couldn't open it because they made it so secure. The result in that case was hiring an Israeli defense contractor to get into the phone. And it also raises a larger question of encryption, where the terrorists or criminals can use encrypted apps like the Paris attackers, Belgium, use Telegram to communicate, and we can't see those communications in advance. And as a former federal prosecutor, if you can't see what they're saying in advance, even if you have a wiretap or FISA, then you can't stop that act from occurring.
And we know that there is going to be investigations as to how the Air Force dropped the ball here and why that information was not communicated, because we know at this point, had it been communicated, what had happened while he was in the Air Force, domestic abuse of his wife and his stepchild, that he would not have been able to purchase those guns. What needs to happen? What change do we need to see, Chairman?
Well, and it happened in my home state. My thoughts and prayers go out to the families. The tragedy is not only that 26 people were killed, but that this could have been stopped. I think under federal law, if you're convicted of a felony or domestic violence crime, which was the case here, it needs to be reported in the criminal database. It's called NCIC. And that's when people purchase firearms, they run the checks through that database. Unfortunately, it looks like the Air Force did not share that information and put it into the database. I do commend the Air Force for starting this investigation, but it may just be the tip of the iceberg as to how many other offenses are out there that are not in the database that could prevent this kind of tragedy from happening again.
The House Armed Services Chairman Mac Thornberry, Republican from the state of Texas, issued this statement saying that news that the Air Force failed to notify the FBI of Devin Kelly's military criminal record is appalling. I understand that Secretary Wilson has initiated an investigation, but I don't believe that the Air Force should be left to self-police after such tragic consequences. Furthermore, I am concerned that the failure to properly report domestic violence convictions may be a systemic issue. Chairman, we just had a reporter on the ground there in that small town showing us the crosses for those 26 people who died that day. And you just wonder, will anyone be held accountable for this as far as at the Air Force level for dropping the ball and communicating that information?
Well, I can tell you as a chairman, and Chairman Thornberry, I know, will be holding hearings on this very issue to get to the bottom of what happened so we can stop this. That's a great tragedy. Is not only do we have 26 people murdered and children killed, but the fact that it could have possibly been stopped, it makes it even more hard to accept. And so I can assure you that Congress will be holding oversight hearings on this.
Chairman, I want to get your thoughts before we let you go on the president's trip overseas. We don't know yet whether or not he will be meeting with Vladimir Putin. That is being discussed, as we are told from the State Department at this point. How do you think it's going over there?
I think it's going very well. I tell you, I think this president is at his best when he is overseas meeting with world leaders. He's had very successful visits with the Prime Minister of Japan, the President of South Korea, to put leverage, in terms of they're our allies. And the previous administration didn't always treat our allies very well. And if we can help arm them with missile defense systems, that puts pressure on China in turn to deal with the North Korean threat. And I think that's the overall strategy that the president's trying to do, in addition to the 3 aircraft carriers, off the coast of the peninsula of Korea. That all put together should help in leveraging a denuclearized North Korea.
Chairman, we've got to leave it there. 2 seconds. Should he or should he not? Would you recommend meeting with Vladimir Putin?
Oh, gosh. That's I think communication is always valuable. And I think Russia is a foreign adversary. but I do think he should sit down and talk to him.
Chairman McCaul, thank you for coming on with us. Good to see you.
More
Thanks,
in a
Sandra.
moment here on